The restaurant shimmered under golden chandeliers, where laughter and quiet conversations floated between tables draped in white silk. Every corner spoke of wealth, the kind that never had to check a price tag. And yet, among those polished smiles sat a young woman who didn't belong to that world. Her name was Laya, the maid's daughter. She sat nervously at the edge of her seat, clutching a small purse as if it held her entire life. Tonight was special. A $4 blind date, a night she'd saved for weeks to afford, even though the water here cost more than her entire meal. She glanced at her phone again, her trembling hands betraying the hope she was trying so hard to protect. If you believe in second chances, kindness, and human stories that heal hearts, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to HOA Chronicles, where we remind the world that goodness still exists. Laya had grown up watching her mother scrub floors and polish marble in the grand mansions of Crestwood Heights. The perfume of the wealthy lingered in the halls longer than the people themselves. Her mother never complained. She simply said, "Never be ashamed of your roots, my girl. Be ashamed only if you stop trying." Those words became Laya's armor. So when a coworker at the cafe offered to set her up on a blind date, she hesitated, then finally agreed. For one evening, she just wanted to feel normal, to laugh, to belong. She wore her best outfit, a borrowed black sweater and a red tie her mother had ironed with love, whispering that she looked like a movie star. But the moment she entered the glittering restaurant, her courage faltered. The stares, the whispers, the feeling that she didn't belong. It was all too familiar. Her date hadn't arrived yet, and every passing minute made her heart sink lower. At a nearby table sat Adrien Vale, the only son of one of the city's wealthiest families. Surrounded by business associates, he should have been focused on numbers and deals, but his eyes kept wandering to the girl by the window. There was something real about her, something untouched by the artificial glow of that expensive room. Minutes turned into an hour. Laya realized her date wasn't coming. Her smile faded as she blinked back tears, refusing to let anyone see her break. She picked up her purse, called for the bill, and braced herself for the sting of humiliation. But someone had been watching. Adrien quietly gestured to the waiter, asking him to bring her check to his table. When Laya reached for her purse, the waiter smiled and said softly, "It's already been taken care of, miss." Confused, she looked around until her eyes met Adrien's. He gave her a small nod, not out of pity, but out of simple, genuine kindness. The kind that says, "I see you. You matter." Laya mouthed a quiet "thank you" and hurried out into the cold night, her heart caught between shame and gratitude. She didn't know who he was, and she never expected to see him again, but Adrien couldn't forget her. That night, her loneliness mirrored his own. Despite his wealth, his world was filled with people who wanted his money, his name, but never him. By morning, he had already found out who she was, the maid's daughter, working part-time at a cafe, helping her mother who served his family's estate. When he visited the property that weekend, he saw her again, sweeping marble steps beside her mother. Her head was lowered, her movements quiet. Adrien walked up, thanked her mother for her years of service, then turned to Laya and said softly, "You have a good heart, don't hide it." From that day, he started visiting the cafe more often, ordering the simplest coffee, just to watch her work. Over time, their small conversations grew into friendship. He admired her dignity. She admired his humility. She told him she didn't want pity, only a chance. And he gave her one. Adrien helped her apply for a scholarship his family's foundation rarely publicized. She almost didn't believe she was worthy, but he believed enough for both of them. Months later, a letter arrived that changed her life. Full scholarship awarded, business and management program. When she told her mother, they cried together, tears of pride, disbelief, and joy. Soon, the entire Vale household whispered about the maid's daughter who had earned the billionaire's sense of respect. Some said Adrien was foolish, that his kindness was misplaced. But he didn't care. He saw in Laya something the rich world often forgets: dignity. Years later, Laya graduated top of her class. She didn't just change her life. She founded the Second Chance Project, an organization that helped women like her mother find education and jobs. At her launch ceremony, Adrien stood beside her, not as a billionaire's son, but as a proud friend who once believed in her dream. Because sometimes kindness doesn't come wrapped in grand gestures. Sometimes it's a quiet act, paying for someone's meal, offering a word of hope, or giving a stranger a chance to rise. Laya's story isn't about wealth. It's about what happens when compassion breaks the walls of class and pride. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to HOA Chronicles. Your support helps us remind the world that kindness still matters. Tell us in the comments, what's one small act of kindness you'll never forget? Because in the end, even the smallest act can change someone's entire world.